Hello, everybody, and welcome to Feathers and Friends, where my name is Jared, as always. And this week, still no guest. No guests have been wanting to come on the show, so here we are. We're gonna be playing a little bit of Insurgency Sandstorm, an old go-to favorite. Where I actually like when I first started this podcast on the YouTubes, as well as when I like the OG, like the very original stuff. Actually used to have a lot of gameplay over Insurgency Sandstorm, where I would just talk about the game or talk about my week, and that's kind of where it started. And now it's kind of evolved into the videos and everything else like that. So I thought we'd try a little bit of a different format here, because I thought some hilarious things have been going on here. What is this? So I guess we could start off with a bunch of football news, because football news is the best. Assessing the Washington Commanders' name and uniform. So the Washington football team, formerly known as the Washington Redskins, came out with the fact that they're going to be known as the Washington Commanders. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, like, it's not the most ideal team name at all. I don't think, like, I'm a huge fan of the fact that they're going to be, like, it's kind of weird that they would go from that to the Commanders, and then I kind of got a preview of their uniforms on a small little tidbit, and I'm like, that kind of sort of works. So to me, the Washington Commanders, not the biggest fan in general about it. I think that they could have gone in a different direction with it. Like, it seems like they're trying to keep some of the old with some of the new. And I mean, I don't mind that they're trying to do that, but in all reality, they really need to kind of, like, if they were going to rebrand, I don't see why they didn't just do a whole rebrand, because their new uniforms, like, they have the black alternate, and then they have the red. They have that kind of the reddish, the ruby red, I guess you would maybe call it, and then they have, I don't know. It just, to me, it doesn't ring true to what the Washington football team. God, I hate that I have to say it. The Washington football team was. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of it in general. I think that banana sandwich. I gotta love. So I tried these. Okay. We're gonna have to go ahead and we're gonna have to turn all of you off. Where is it? Effects, volumes, voice chat, receive. There we go. You are now down. Turn you off. I don't want to listen to anything you guys have to say. Any who's and what's it's. So yeah, I don't know. It just I had like this all protein, plant based pizza nugget thingies. I don't know. Like they looked cool. I thought I'd try them, and a little dry. Very, very good. It tasted like, dude, it tasted just like Totino's pizza rolls, but it definitely was not Totino's pizza rolls. It was very much so plant-based, but it tasted very good. It tasted real good. But anyways, that's kind of neither here nor there. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Washington Commanders being who they are and what they're kind of doing. Oh wow, just kind of run in there. That's cool. Because I feel like if you're gonna completely redo your team, like change it from that to that, you should most assuredly, like, I don't know, completely go brand new with everything. Maybe new colors, new logos, new everything. But instead they're like, yeah, we're gonna kind of keep the everything old and kind of turn it into new. It's like, well, I'm okay, I guess. But I don't know, maybe it's just because the Washington football team is not the best out there, and they just, in my eyes, like, I think, like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. The NFL in general is weird, because there's a story, not so story, that's out there where Ocho Cinco, aka Chad Johnson, aka one of the best Bengals receivers ever, tweeted out that he wanted to have football with some of the NFL superstars, right? And he's like, hey, why don't we come on out and why don't we play a little bit of football or have a little bit of breakfast at IHOP? And nobody responded to him. Nobody said anything. And I was like, okay, that's kind of maybe a story. But here's the problem with it. The story is that Chad Johnson sent out a tweet at 9:43 in the morning, asked anybody if they wanted to come have breakfast with him at IHOP, and then he had breakfast alone at IHOP at 11:47 in the morning because nobody responded to him. And I think my control key is all messed up. But the whole thing to me is that Chad Johnson, aka Ocho Cinco, aka one of the coolest wide receivers ever, and to ever kind of play the game for a while, even though his antics were nuts. It was like me asking all my buddies, like, hey Alex, hey Brandon, hey Tiff, hey Dash, you guys want to go have breakfast here in like 20 minutes or like in 2 hours? And that's all that is. It's like he asked everybody to come have breakfast with him in like an hour and a half. Like that's not, number one, that's not fair. Number two, that's not a story. Number three, of course nobody's going to show up. Like there's all these there's all this stuff that you have to go through in the NFL. Like they're trying to keep it a bubble. They're trying to stay in a quarantine bubble. They get tested constantly, and they don't really need to get outside and do all these random things with random people just because it's Chad freaking Ocho Cinco, Like, to me, it's a story non-story, Because it's like, yeah, Chad Johnson got stood up by all the NFL players because he decided to be that friend that hits everybody up last freaking second and, gets told no. And it's like, yeah, of course. Like, dude, if my buddy hit me up an hour, like at 9:40 in the morning, I've already had breakfast. Now, I get it. These are NFL guys. They probably have second breakfasts. And then they have, maybe, I don't know, a pre-lunch and then a lunch. So, like, maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But in all reality, I would honestly say that it's a story, non-story. And then the all infamous, I got smoked there. The infamous Jim Harbaugh, who has been, was it Jim Harbaugh who's been coaching the freaking? Okay, let's go back to Fosbook. Fosbook news. This is where I got all my news this week, actually, believe it or not. There's a mock draft here. The Packers trade Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Packers trade. There's a mock draft where the Green Bay Packers trade Rodgers and Devontae Adams to the Philadelphia Eagles, and then I don't know. I'm not gonna read that. That's weird. Is it going to pull up? No, probably because I already read it. But yeah, I think it's Jim Harbaugh who teaches or who coaches the Michigan Wolverines. There was a story where he was the front runner. He was the absolute front runner. Like, he thought he had the job in the bag where he was going to go coach for the Minnesota Vikings. And the Minnesota Vikings leadership was like, yeah, no, bro, you most definitely do not have the job. So apparently, I guess he went in there all like cocky and all like, I've got the job. This is just kind of a formality that you're interviewing me, blah, 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 blah. And like, he totes McGoats did not get the job at all. And now Harbaugh's like, I'm done with the NFL. Dude, the hell is your problem? Like, you legitimately, oh, really? If you run too much, your guy gets fatigued and there's fatigue that sets in? Either that or my eyes are going really bad. That could be one of three. Or my graphics are, yeah, maybe my eyes are going bad. But, like, dude, you didn't have the job. You most definitely were not going to get the job right off the bat. It's called an interview for a freaking reason, dude. Like, you got to interview to get the position. And apparently he thought that he had the position 100% wrapped up in the bag, and it was not just a formality of them like, hey, yeah, we got to interview you, because apparently the team, from like what I was kind of hearing in some of the reports, is he most assuredly was he was kind of like a dick about the whole thing. So to me, that kind of says that, that's what happens when you get stupid cocky about something and then you get put in your freaking place. I kind of thought it was cool. I kind of thought it was awesome. But yeah, anyways, that's kind of neither here nor there. And then there was another NFL kind of thing where people were getting all in a kerfluffle about the whole freaking what's his name, Tom Brady. Tom Brady was like giving the slide to New England or something crazy like that because he didn't, in his retirement, he didn't give any pleasure points, or he wasn't like, thank you New England for everything you've ever done and blah 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 blah. And it's like, dude, you don't really have to. He's just like, yeah, we gave it a good run, and he kind of gave a little bit to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and who knows, I don't know. But yeah, so the Super Bowl, I am thoroughly I am thoroughly excited to see what comes from the Super Bowl because either Matt Stafford wins a ring and he becomes a legitimate quarterback. I mean, the dude literally left the Lions and did exactly what Tom Brady did the first season with Tampa Bay. He went out and he won a Super Bowl. I would love to see them. I would love to see Brady do not Brady, but I would love to see Mr. LeMathieu Stafford do the same thing too. But then again, I would like to see Joe Burrow in his, second season, even though technically it's kind of his rookie season. I would really like to see him get a Super Bowl under ring and show, like, no, Jamar Chase and the whole freaking squad is just astonishing. Like, I think it's even amazing that they won the NFC division. Like, dude, their freaking rookie kicker comes out and, like, just is like, no, I got this. We're going to go to the AFC, championship game. Like, hey, can you do it again? Yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl. But apparently their kicker, not Justin Herbert, I forget what the Cincinnati Bengals punter's name is, but he is like a true blue Cincinnati boy. Like, the kid was from Cincinnati, played NCAA for the Cincinnati Bearcats or Wild Bears or Wildcats. Like, he's been with Cincinnati his whole life through the NFL, through the NCAA, through like everything else out there. And now he's finally getting his dues and going to go to the Super Bowl. Like, that'd be cool to see a guy who spent his entire career in a specific state and would win it. That's not only patriotism, but that to me just speaks absolute wild volumes about, your character and just kind of everything else. So I think that's kind of cool. I would think that'd be pretty neat if that's what happened. So in all reality, I don't want to talk about the NFL for too much longer, because I know the NFL is kind of a sore spot for some people. The NFL is kind of a hard point for a lot of people. And then in other points, the NFL is awesome sauce, So that's all I'm really going to say about that, is that the NFL has got its due coming, and I'm excited to see a different team other than Tom Brady or some of the other people that are out there playing in the game. So we got that there. Now, there was another story that I kind of wanted to talk about here that had a little bit to do with, there was the former Bengals. Yeah, so when it comes to your tax returns this year, just a little heads up that you may be seeing a lot less coming back to you, because usually I see a pretty significant amount coming into me, and I can, because I'm a poor, broke individual, but like, I went to go do my taxes this year because I'm a freaking adult, and I know how to adult. Please, there we go. So, the biggest thing to me is that you may not see as much in a tax return as you have in previous years because of a law that El Presidente Trumpo put into effect with everything, where I guess people that make less money get taxed more in certain situations, and that's rearing its ugly head right now. So that was interesting to come back in. And then of course it was weird because I was reading up on the stimulus checks that we all got, and apparently a lot of the stimulus checks really didn't affect your tax returns and stuff like that. But because of the law that Trump signed into bill, like every 2 years for the next 2 years, we're going to be getting less and less back on our tax returns. And what's funny is, like, I think I actually made less this year than I did in the previous year, and my tax return dwindled by like 3/4. So that kind of surprised the ever living hell out of me. But anyways, that's neither here nor there, because that is one topic, and that is the final part that we're going to touch on that topic. For those of you who have ever played a Rockstar game, Rockstar actually officially, we're transitioning like that. So Rockstar actually made the official announcement that Grand Theft Auto 6 has been in production, and that it is being produced, and like it is running on all freaking cylinders. Oh, shit. Okay, cool. I killed that guy. Whoops. I thought he was going to kneel and just stay low, but I guess not. So yeah, anyways, Rockstar is firing on all cylinders. Oh, that was a good RPG. Rockstar is firing on all cylinders and creating, what is basically known as Grand Theft Auto 6, which is kind of interesting. I'm interested to see what Rockstar does for, you know, this new Grand Theft Auto series that they're running. I think it's going to be cool. You know, like there was a bunch of what was it? There was a bunch of rumor mills, and a lot of people had some inside information where they're like, hey, you know, I can't believe, you know, Rockstar is hiring right now for voice acting. They're you know, hiring for a bunch of this other stuff out there. This means that they're trying to get, you know, people for, oh, excuse me there. They're trying to do this and they're trying to do that, and I'm like, that's really kind of cool that Rockstar is. I'm not going to believe the hype. Maybe it's for another project. Da, 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 da. And Rockstar actually officially tweeted it today, February 4th, that they are officially working on the next part of Grand Theft Auto in the Grand Theft Auto series. So I think that's cool. You should think that's cool. If you are a fan of Rockstar and anything they do, I would be thoroughly excited to see the next steps in what comes from the new Rockstar project that they are working on in the Grand Theft Auto series. Like, I like Grand Theft Auto 5. If it wasn't for the online community, I think I would buy it again, even though I've played through the storyline like a billion times. I don't think I can get into it again, just simply because you know, I don't want to spend $15 on a game. Like, I mean, a game that old from Rockstar, like a game that's actually being retired on the what was it, the PlayStation 4? Or was it it was the PlayStation 3 that we talked about, where they were actually retiring the online portion of Grand Theft Auto 5 for because like it's too old on the system or something like that, or the servers are going down or something like that for the PlayStation 3. Like, when a game comes out and people are still playing it, you know the game's got longevity, but then at the same time it's kind of like, okay, maybe it's had its due time and you need to, you know, work on the next project. But I mean, it was making money for a long time, and I do not begrudge them one bit to kind of go, hey, yeah, let's keep Rockstar in the mix. So Rockstar is coming out with some brand new games, a brand new Grand Theft Auto, which I think is pretty dope. And then, by the way, Microsoft is not the only one to make the next big frickin' move here. Microsoft actually is, of course, everybody knows Microsoft bought Activision and Blizzard for $6.7 with $1 billion. Well, Sony acquired Bungie, which is big for which is Halo. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure Bungie is Halo, if I'm not mistaken. No, Bungie. Yeah, the video game company. Bungie Games. Let's go ahead and look at that. Destiny, Halo Combat Evolved, Halo Reach, Halo 3, Oni, which, okay, that's cool. Destiny, Halo. Yeah, so Bungie does Destiny and Halo, but Sony is apparently, wow, 19 kills and 20 assists. That's pretty insane. But yeah, Sony bought Bungie, which is insane because Bungie is like a huge thing for Halo is a huge Xbox thing, you know, and it just baffles my mind that now Sony's like, okay, well, guess what? We're doing this. And Sony is really, really pushing to get a lot of the online games, online service games out there. I think they're pushing for like 4 or 5 online service games where you have to be online, a lot like what Anthem was. You know, just like Grand Theft Auto Online, where you have to, or I should say Diablo 3, where you have to be online to be able to play these games. I'm not a big fan of those games at all. I hate the online games. I think they are the most pointless and ridiculous things in the world, because I don't want to constantly be having to play with people, because like every once in a while, I just want to log out and play solo. I mean, every once in a while, I don't want to be doing anything crazy. I don't want to be running around in a big, massive open line world. Like, I would like to play a big game that's kind of, I mean, if you take Red Dead Redemption as, it's a kind of a role-playing game, and not in the most idyllic sense, but like, I like having those big open worlds where I don't want to be online constantly with a whole bunch of people out there, because let's face it, I don't know. To me, I'm just not a big fan of all those massive multiplayer games that are online. I mean, if you're down for the cause, like I'm good on you. I'm ecstatic for you. I think that's absolutely fantastic. But at the same time, I'm not a big fan at all of that. So that's my 2 cents on that. I also do know that Cyberpunk is coming out with They want to come out with 2 AAA title games in the next year or two, I think is what it was, or in 2023 they want to come out with that, or in 2022 they want to hit some AAA title games. My only problem with them saying that is Cyberpunk was an utter fucking disaster. Like, utter fucking disaster. How the fuck are you going to say I want to make 2 AAA title games in the next year or two when Cyberpunk failed and fell flat on its motherfucking face, and you still, like, I like how, what was the game that they fixed? Like, No Man's Sky took like a year or so to fix. It's been about 6 to 8 months. They should be on the pathway. Like, No Man's Sky, yes, it took a while to fix, but in my opinion, if you cannot fix your game and you're not actively making content for the community that wants it and stuff like that, you know, and you're not improving the game that you put out that's supposed to be your big massive kind of counterpart, you should not be able to make it another game. That, to me, in my opinion, is garbage. Like, I can't believe that they're actually thinking of, we're going to create 2 new big AAA title games. It's like, no, you need to shut the fuck up, fix Cyberpunk, and fix your fucking self. That is ridiculous. You don't get to make a blunder like Cyberpunk and then fucking go, oh yeah, you guys liked Cyberpunk so much, we're going to create a AAA title game here. No, you don't. You don't get to do that. You get to fucking fix your first game, and then you finally get, then you're like, okay, then we'll see what we're doing. Because Cyberpunk, like, I even revisited Cyberpunk, to be honest with you, and it just, I can't. I'm so disappointed that I pre-ordered Cyberpunk. Like, my what is it? My standards were low, but what was it? My standards are low, but my disappointment is immeasurable, or something crazy like that. That one meme where the kid who like always reviewed fast foods or something like that. Yeah, I like that kid. Oh, my stuffy nose is coming back here. My stuffy nose. So anyways, yeah. But that was kind of an interesting news that Cyberpunk was coming out with that. Sony's trying to, I guess, really get into it as well too. They ended up buying Bungie for like $3.6 billion or something like that. Like they didn't go all out like Microsoft did to buy Activision, which I'm actually kind of surprised that it went for that much considering all the bullshit that they were going through. So that's some kind of cool news. Suicide Squad, the new game, actually kind of got pushed back here. It got pushed back till 2023. And it seems like it is pretty far out there, but you got to kind of realize what's been going on here with everything. That just, the COVID has really been restricting. Like, I wish that they would be like, it's a tentative, we're coming out with a game at this date and time, because in all aspects in reality, like, it baffles my mind that they're like, yeah, we've got these deadlines here that we're rocking and rolling with, and it's like, you can't meet half of these deadlines, like, just half of these deadlines are just not working. So that's kind of my 2 cents here on that. I am pretty actually excited, if you can believe that or not, that oh really, let's go Amber. Okay. If you can kind of believe my excitement, I guess, if you would maybe kind of call it that, on some of the other games that may be coming out here relatively shortly. I haven't seen too many that I like. I see a lot of games that are what's it called? They look interesting. Like, there's this Knight Crusader one where you're like a knight in like the 16th century or something like that. It kind of looks like a mix between Red Dead Redemption, The Witcher, and a couple other things. But apparently, like, it's not very good. Just simply because of the fact that there's been it's a lot of bug crashes and a lot of other nonsense that's kind of been going on with that. So it looked like a fun game. It was on sale for like $9.99, and I was like, I can't bring myself to it. That to me, it doesn't speak volumes when the top reports for the game are like, it's a good game if you can get past some of the crashes and you have an SSD. And it's like, if I'm gonna pay $10 for a pre-alpha game, you better frickin' believe that I'm actually gonna want a polished game. I don't want to have to find these workarounds or these fixes. Like with Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't like how I had to get like a solid 70 frames a second on my freaking, PC, which is actually a fairly high-end PC to begin with. Like, I didn't like that I absolutely had to like really push and really try hard to to get a decent frames a second on a game that not is only that old, but as well as I'm running what was probably at the time some of the biggest, most high-end equipment. You know what I mean? So that to me kind of upsets me. Just a tidbit, just a hair follicle. You know. So that to me kind of upsets me a little bit more than most. So, you know, well, no, please don't get out of that. Thank you. So yeah, that to me really just kind of, you know, speaks volumes, especially when you're playing a game, like I said, that's that old. And that, I mean, I get that it is graphically heavy, but if you're like, hey, your system can run on the highest recommended settings and it doesn't pull like 120 FPS, that's another thing that really kind of gets me going, is that if you're playing a game where they're like, hey, our recommended setting, like the recommended high-end settings for a PC to play this game is, you know, a GTX 1080 Ti, you know, a couple other a couple other things in there. Like, it baffles my mind that when you play a game like that, where you're far and above and beyond what some of the recommended settings are, and you still can't push 120 frames per second you know, on the ultra high settings, that kind of gets me. That kind of makes me a tad upsetty spaghetti. So, I had some. Oh, so I was on the Netflix machine, because that's what my boss calls it. I was on the Netflix machine, and I had seen the new Ryan Reynolds movie came out called Burn Notice or Red Notice or whatever it's called, right? Well, guess what? Red Notice is Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds with The Rock being The Rock. It should have just been called Ryan Reynolds and The Rock play robbers or play thieves. That's how bad this movie was. I mean, it is hilarious to see Ryan Reynolds be Ryan Reynolds. Yes, it is hilarious to see him and The Rock buddy up for a duo. But like, the movie almost pissed me off to a point to where I almost gave up on it. Now, I don't give up on movies too lightly at all. Like, if I'm watching a movie, I can typically give it a pretty good shot, right? Well, guess what? Like I said, I almost gave up on the movie. It started to piss me off. Like, there was a fight scene between Gal Gadot and The Rock. Now, don't get me wrong, Gal Gadot can be a real badass, you know, woman, but like, when a woman who is maybe, a third of The Rock's size, and a third of The Rock's size, The Rock has got massive muscle mass. The dude is a freaking powerhouse demon, untold of anybody else that's out there. Like, I'm like, no, that she should not be throwing The Rock around like he is, and blah, 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 and this, that, and the fifth, and the third, and da-da-da-da-da, and like, it's really, really bothering me that this is all kind of happening, and then all of a sudden, there's a twist. I'm not going to tell you what the twist is, because I want you to realize that there is a twist in this movie, but a twist comes out, and it's actually a really hilarious twist, and it actually makes a lot of sense. But I had a upsetty spaghetti moment in the movie. And now I know a lot of you know me, if you've listened to me talk before about the Marvel Universe, where in what was it called? In Black Widow, they had CZ Scorpion that's got a very high rate of fire. And in the movie, it was more of a brep, brep, brep kind of thing, instead of a brrrr, you know, like where it just chews through ammunition. So I got a little upsetty spaghetti, yes. I got a little under the weather and mad because I was watching it, and I'm not going to give away the plot, but essentially they got to search for a World War II era bunker. And in that World War II era bunker are a bunch of World War II era guns and cars and, you know, a bunch of other stuff that's kind of out there for World War II. And what makes it really interesting is okay, my buddy just wasn't watching me there. That's great. What makes it really interesting is that they actually use some old World War II weapons. Like, they pull out an MP40 submachine gun that was, you know, like that was Germany's like big claim to fame. You know, they had a very good submachine gun that was stamped out of steel and mass produced. You know, it fires 9x19 parabellum or 9mm ammo. They also used an MG42, which was used to be nicknamed the Buzzsaw. You know, it had a lot of these names for its high cyclic fire rate. Well, here's the thing. Jared's a little bit of a stickler for sound effects. Now, if you don't know this, I can actually tell you right now that if you ever listen to World War II documentaries, or if you ever watch like YouTube channels like Wild Bill Hickok, Brandon Haderna, I think is his name, because I'll be actually using their stuff here in actually just a minute. But like, it's really interesting because they like to fire some of these old guns, and I've actually got some clips here that I'm going to put together where essentially what it is Wild Bill fires an MP40, and then I'm going to compare it to what Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was. I'm taking off my boots. I apologize. The boots are kind of they're actual like military boots, and I can't wear them for as long as I used to. But anyways, The Rock is firing an MP40 at a bunch of people, and the MP40 has a very distinct sound to it when it's being fired. Now, the big thing to me is when you get things accurate in movies. You're a big budget film. Well, guess what? They dubbed over a bunch of the MP40 firing. To me, it upset me. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna insert that section here because I'm gonna go ahead and edit it. And I want you to listen to my little rant on it and kind of stick with me for a brief moment on this, because to me, it really kind of makes me a bit upsetty spaghetti on the whole thing. Like, if you're gonna use movie accurate weapons and you're gonna use real era replicas, please, by all means, don't be a dick about it. Don't be D-bags about it. I want you to realize that if you're gonna use a gun, use the correct sound effects, because the MP40 just did not sound anything like the MP40 should sound like, and as well too as what's that? Oh, that was beautiful. The whatchamacallit? The MG42 did not sound anything like an MG42 was supposed to sound like. So we're going to go ahead and travel in time to when I record that. All right, so the movie Red Notice, as everyone can kind of efficaciously see here, is with the great Ryan Reynolds, the Dwayne Johnson, and Gal Gadot. Now, in a very particular scene, Ryan Reynolds, The Rock, and Gal Gadot get into a little bit of a gunfight. And this is that gunfight here.
I'm all out!
Now, the thing that I want to kind of show to you is that the first guns that you hear firing are MG42 guns. That you see them later on in the movie, and then the second gun that you hear is actually an MP40 from that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is firing. Now, if you notice, the two MG42s have two very distinct firing sounds, and I'll go ahead and let you listen to it one more time through. But you hear an MG42 fire, you hear a second MG42, and then you hear the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's MP40. And then it zooms in on a close-up to him where you hear a fourth gun. Now, there are technically two weapons firing, two MG42s and one MP40, but you hear four different gun sounds. I'm going to go ahead and let you listen to that again.
I'm all out!
So now when we take that into consideration, it's really ridiculous, because I hate when movies do this. Like, here, I'm just going to go ahead and pull up the YouTubes here. Well, no, please, let's go to, okay, so let's go to YouTube. Oh, there you go. You can see a lot of my beautiful stuff out here. So we're going to go ahead. Where the hell's the search function on YouTube? Oh, there it is. I lost it. Cursed Guns Double Barrel Edition? Okay, let's go ahead and save that for later. That's interesting. Oh yeah, The Beast of Omaha, the Stories of D-Day, Simple History. The Beast of Omaha, Stories from D-Day, I would highly encourage you to watch that. That's about an MG42 gunner. With their animation is weird, but it's not. Okay, so let's see here, CZ Scorpion. Evo 3 S1. Okay, so this is the CZ Scorpion. Now here's one thing I hate. These are all like 20-minute freaking videos. Oh, I know it. That's cute because that guy uses the same font that I use for the level up stuff. So ZZ Scorpion firing. Okay, so you heard how fast that goes. Because in Black Widow, the CZ Scorpion is not that fast. The fire rate is actually pretty phenomenal on that. And see, I hate this. It's at the range with the CZ Scorpion. It's basically a 2-minute clip, and the guy's like, "Oh, let's go ahead and like 2 minutes." But okay, that's neither here nor there. So, anyways, this is what an MP40 actually sounds like from. I think it's Hickok 45 is the guy's name.
So sorry about that, but we're going to try 9mm on this drum, see what happens. See if we can drain the water out of it.
So the next part of the video that I want to go ahead and show you is where Brandon Herrera is firing an MG42, and this is what an MG42 actually technically sounds like.
2, 1, let's fuck.
Okay, so now that we've kind of gotten all of that stuff in order, the biggest thing that I wanted to show you is that it sounds almost kind of like it almost kind of sounds like they're using two different sound platforms, because one of them is the M240 Bravo, and this is actually recorded right off of Insurgency Sandstorm, and they're pretty damn accurate. So this is the M240 Bravo. This is the M249. And this is the MG42 in the game. Now, I know a lot of people that make these hyper-realistic games try to get the sounds right. Now, let's go ahead and listen back to that clip one final time and see if you can distinguish what is what.
I'm all out.
See, now that stuff upsets me. That stuff gets me upsetty spaghetti like nobody's business, because to me, in all fairness and in all generality, it upsets me far above and beyond anything I've ever had to deal with, because to me, if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna make a movie and get it as accurate as it can be in a movie, especially for some of the details that you ended up going with to make the movie pretty awesome, you should be able to at least get what little gunplay is in there correct, in my eyes. So, anywho's and what's it's. That's my out. That's my hit onto Red Notice. Hollywood, be better, do better. Come on, Netflix. Come on, Netflix. That's all I can say. So we're gonna go ahead and actually dive into the Reddit section, the Reddit advice section, where I think I berate like 2 or 3 people, and we call out 2 badass motherfuckers. I don't know. I'm kind of filming this all out of order. I don't know. So let's just go ahead and jump into the fun advice section and kind of go from there. So we'll talk with y'all later. So I appreciate you letting me go on that little rampage, that little rant and rampage here. But we're actually going to go ahead and leave the game of Insurgency, because I have a bunch of questions that I really like to answer. Let's see if I can make the transition here. Did the transition? Oh, look at that! The transition actually came through. That's nice. I was able to make a transition into the screen here. So, I like to. Everybody knows I like to go on Reddit from time to time, and so there's this gal who posted on our confession, which was all actually cross-posted onto our advice. Now, from what I gather here, this gal, because the post was removed. Actually, let's go ahead and find out. Oh, she's got like 11 karma or whatever. Wow, she posted in relationship advice, our advice as well too as confession. Okay, so anyways, let's go and dive into it. So I found somebody who kind of did a quick little synopsis of everything, because if you're like me, you know how I am about quick little synopses. I don't want to read a paragraph and a half of frickin' information when I can just read a quick little synopsis. So Which Way's Up says, so you're 16, you work at a bar serving alcohol. If I'm understanding this correctly, where where do you live where that is legal? And if I'm understanding you correctly, you're 16, working in an establishment that serves alcohol in a place where it is legal for a 16-year-old to serve alcohol, when a 24-year-old man came up to you and I guess he kissed her, is what I'm gathering. So a lot of people are calling him the P word. And the big thing is, I think, because I listen to a lot of Chris Hansen. He's got that podcast out, which has kind of gone to shit. But I listen to a lot of Chris Hansen, and Chris Hansen talks about, the predators that he's caught. That's actually his podcast. Now, one thing that's interesting is that there's a word called hebephilia. Now, hebephilia, I think, I'm going to Google it here. The term, okay, so that's not maybe the correct word to use. Hebephilia has been proposed to notate. Okay, that's weird. That's not what I thought it was, because I thought that was the exact same thing. Is it not? Let's go ahead and look at the definition here, because okay, that's weird. Okay, so this is another thing that I had issues with. I had a whole bunch of issues with, because I remember one time I was getting really pissed off about something, and it was about people's sexual orientation. Now, it's not that I'm upsetty spaghetti that certain people have sexual orientations. What I'm upsetty spaghetti about is that sometimes there's like 3 or 4 definitions for the exact same thing. And I'll just kind of give you an example, because there was like 3 different versions of asexual. One version of asexual was you kind of like to have sex a little bit. There's another definition of asexual that it's like you don't like sex at all. And then there's a definition that it's like you like to have sex, but it's not something that you like. It's like you have sex often, maybe like a normal person, but you don't like sex at all. And it just kind of gets into my mind where it's like those are 3 widely different things. It's like you eat Pringles all day, every day. You have Pringles once or twice a week, or you have Pringles like once a month, or you don't have Pringles like at all. Those are if you're like, hey man, I eat Pringles all day, every day. I love Pringles. I gotta have at least a Pringle chip a day. And then you're like, oh, well, no, okay, let me try this again. If you're like, oh, I gotta have an alcoholic beverage I gotta have an alcoholic beverage to start my day. That's how I start my day. Some people would be like, you're an alcoholic. But then again, some people are like, dude, you drink like 3 beers, on a Friday night, every Friday. You're kind of an alcoholic. It's like, no, Friday is his time to unwind. He just likes to have a good drink here and there. So to me, that kind of denotates like that there are so many different wide varieties out there. But anyways, because I think in a lot of countries, the age of 16, I mean, shit, there are some countries out there that the age of consent is 14. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's correct, but I'm just saying in those countries, the age of consent is 14. And it was weird because I remember Chris Hansen did an episode where an 18-year-old was trying to hook up with a 16-year-old, and the story kind of got shuffled to the side because he was like he was out of high school. Like he just got out of high school. Like I think it was like 3 to 6 months ago or something like that. So like 3 to 6 months ago, he was literally in the halls with like 14, 15, and 16-year-olds, and he just became an adult like a couple months ago. But to me that's kind of a weird situation. But like, and so to kind of get where I'm going, because I'm going off on a tangent here. So I did a Google where how old did you have to be to serve alcohol in all different states. In every single U.S. state, you have to be at least 18 years or older to serve alcoholic beverages, even if an adult is present. Now, to me, what that tells me is that they are probably living somewhere outside the United States, maybe in Europe, or maybe in some kind of country that's part of the EU, because I know that in a lot of the EU countries, English is a fairly good language out there. People can usually put it in together. You're not having a lot of Middle Eastern countries because they are very dry countries. Maybe, in Asia or something like that, that's kind of around there. But I'm thinking, because a lot of the EU, kind of a lot of those countries, I was looking to see that they were like 16 is kind of the age of consent. So that tells me that maybe alcohol is kind of legal there. But here's the thing, like if we take a look at the numbers, I mean, if we just take a look at the number here, It's an 8-year difference, right? Now, if we take a look at what's kind of going on with an 18-year-old at 8 years, that means that, oh, how about no, let's keep recording because I want to keep recording. So if an 18-year-old was dating somebody who was 8 years older than them, that would put them at 26. Now, 25, 26-year-olds, I mean, hell, even sometimes 30-year-olds, even sometimes 30-year-olds date 18-year-olds. Now, yes, I know here in America, the age of consent is 18. Anything under 18 is it's very shunned as it should be. I mean, I wish that a lot of things were, no, you do not get to do any of this. Nothing is legal. Marijuana, cigarettes, alcohol, a lot of these other things you shouldn't be doing, and, having sex or making any financial decisions until you're like 22 to 25. Just simply because, we are not, I remember when I was 18, I was not an adult. I was not a fully functioning human being at that time. So to me, that's kind of interesting, that, somebody who at the age of 24, which is kind of around a normal age that you would, an 8-year difference isn't all that bad. An 8-year difference isn't even that big, especially if a country where the legal age of 16 is legal. That's like a 28-year-old hitting on an 18-year-old. I mean, dude, we see there are 18-year-olds that are dating guys that are like 30, 35. It's a thing. So apparently the guy kissed her, and she was like, I don't know, how. She's like, was it my fault? Should I tell my boyfriend that happened? Here's my first thing. If you're serving alcohol, so apparently the guy was sober, and I think she was drinking, and she was able to get drunk, or just working at a place that served alcohol. My whole thing to you is, number one, if you're drinking at any point in time, you should just expect the worst to happen. Alcohol is an intoxicant. You become inebriated while you are drinking. And how many stories do you have that literally start with, so this one time I was drinking? To me, it speaks volumes when people are like, I got drunk and this and blah, blah, blah happened. Okay, the dude's kind of a douchebag for maybe taking advantage of you if you were drinking. Because I had a girlfriend of a year and a half that even when I was dating her for a year and a half, the biggest thing was she got drunk one time and she was getting all kissy on me, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's not say we did. And she was like, really? And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna get with you when you're in an inebriated state. That's just, to me, that's a hard pass, because even though you could say yes and you could be my girlfriend of a year and a half, you could always come back and say, I technically didn't want it last night. I was just drunk and you took advantage of me. No, that's no. But then again, you're in an establishment that's serving alcohol at the age of 16 and this guy kisses you. Tell your freaking boyfriend, especially if it wasn't that bad. And I love a lot of people here, because the biggest thing with Reddit is people automatically assume that you're in America, and they're like, oh, the P words, or the guy's a P word and he's horrible. It's like, no, dude, he could be outside of a country. Take this. Well, you gotta take context clues, my man. Take context clues. So context clues are important. So let's go ahead and take a quick baffle here, because we've got a slurry here. We've got a slurry here. So there's a story at the end that I want to read to you. That's a really neat and nifty story. But the first one that we're going to touch on is abusive parents forcefully taking away my meds from me and no longer want to give me food. Hello, I am 21 years old. I need advice on what to do because I am not sure what to do next. My parents have been forcefully been hiding my meds the past week, antidepressants, and I had to go through brutal arguments no son would ever want to hear from their father. Pretty much called me an asshole and said I was a failure, blah, 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 blah. I have around $25,000 saved up and I would like to move out of his place, but I don't have anyone to go to. Was thinking of seeking unemployment, but my state for some reason does not want to give me it. Any advice would be great. Really, I'm in full panic mode right now and I'm not sure what to do. About 30 minutes ago, they just said I would have to find and get my own food and pay my own phone bill. This is hard because I can't drive and I don't own a car. Thank you. You have $25,000 saved up, sir. You are 21 years old and you have $25,000. You are in a position that is above and beyond so many other people out there, like my age, who are working paycheck to paycheck. If I had 25 grand in the bank, I would be fucking ecstatic at the age of 30. Am I 36? How fucking old am I? I was having this existential crisis the other day. It is 2021. Well, okay, I should say 2021 is because that's when I was, that was my last birthday. Okay, so I'm 34. Wow, I thought I was 36 for a minute. God. Can you tell I'm getting old, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, so you're 21. You have $25,000 in the bank. I'm hoping for a nice fat tax return so that way I can catch up on a bunch of shit for being sick. Okay, that's that's so dope. That's awesome, buddy. First off, you're gonna go ahead and download yourself the Uber application, or you're gonna go ahead and just call Uber, or maybe even call a taxi depending on where you are. Uber, Lyft, rideshare, anything like that. You have 25 grand. Get yourself an Uber, get yourself to a hotel, check in for about a night or two. The next morning after you wake up, go ahead and find yourself somebody who is willing to rent you an apartment. Tell them that you want to move in real quick, real fast because you got kicked out of your apartment by your parents and you need a place real quick, real fast. I guarantee you that a lot of people will say, hey, if you can make the down deposit today, I'll give you the keys. Maybe they run a background check. They kind of expedite it on you because you have no place to go. I think you could be living at a hotel for a week. Okay, so that's maybe about $1,000 down the drain. Depending upon if you could find one of those no-tell motels that they're called out there, possibly where it's just like, $60 a night or something like that. So you spend a couple $100s on that, and then all of a sudden you have yourself a hotel room. Okay, you go get food, you go maybe buy a mini grocery, you go out to the local grocery store or something like that, or just maybe get some food delivered. Okay, you're covering groceries for a little while, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're in there. Go on Craigslist or go on Facebook Marketplace. There's plenty of cars out there for like two to three grand. Okay, so now, just for giggles, we're down to like $2,000 after your down payment. You now have a vehicle, and you now have a place on your own. You're at $20,000. I don't know why you don't need to work anymore. The state won't give you unemployment. That probably tells me that there's a couple things going on with you that technically won't allow you to get unemployment because of what's going on with your medical issues or what have you. The state doesn't deem it necessary or bad enough for that to happen. So in my eyes, now you have $20,000. You have an apartment. Go and get yourself some internet and get a computer. Okay, so maybe you're down to like 19 or 18,000. You've got internet, you've now got a computer, and you can work from home doing a call center job like I do, and it's not that difficult. Maybe even just do it part-time. And you could live off of your savings for quite some time. Now you have a vehicle, you have a place to stay, and this is all in under a week. Like, I get it, you're in full panic mode, because I've had panic attacks in the past, and I know exactly what it's like to have a panic attack and just not know or not be able to understand what in the flippity-flappity flop is happening here. So, that's kind of my advice here. So this other one says, throwaway party 09. Says, I had to take my boss to the hospital over his quote fetish. It really impacted me. So I'm a 21-year-old female. He's 36 years old. Let's see here. It was around midnight and I get a call from him. He tells me that he's in a barn shed in a field near his apartment building. He sounds like he's in pain. I go to get him, find out that his hands and legs are zip tied and he's bleeding on the floor and nothing but his underwear. I'm freaking out because, what the hell? I'd freak out too. That's 100% legitimate. So whilst driving to the hotel, he tells me that he's into extreme pain, but no BDSM clubs will facilitate his kinks or fetishes. So he just paid 2 dudes off of Craigslist to kidnap and beat him up. So is he gay? That's kind of cool. He's into dudes beating him up. All right. So, however, the men he hired were dodgy as hell, tied him up without his consent, ignored his safe word. They took his clothes, wallet, and then anything that he had on him. Luckily, he's not too badly injured, but I'm very concerned. He begged me not to tell anyone, which I won't, but I don't know how to go forward. I care for this man, and seeing and hearing him in pain really upset me. I know that wasn't his intention, but I don't know what to do. I've seen in real life violence before, but nothing that impacted me quite like this. I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that I actually read this. Throwaway party. You are the one person he trusted to call in that situation. The one person he said, I can call someone. I'm gonna say your name is Tiffany just because I want to use a name here. He's in emotional distress. He's all fucked up. He's in pain. He needs to go to the hospital. He's at probably one of the lowest points in his life because somebody's literally about to find him bleeding, tied up, and utterly humiliated in the middle of a barn, in the middle of nowhere, and you're the first person he calls. You're the person he trusts. You're the person who he feels so intimately that he can rely on you to not only pick him up, not only to help him get through this, but not only to be his confidant to say, hey, look, this is what I'm into. This is crazy. This is what happened. I'm sorry I drug you into this. I needed your assistance. He called you for assistance. Like, I would be ecstatic if my buddy is at his lowest point in his life and he says, I know who can help me on this. I trust Jared with this. That speaks absolute volumes to me. Like, I get that it's a little terrifying, but just know this. You helped a man at his lowest point in his life thus far, and you were a fucking champion about it. You, Throwaway Party R9, are our bad motherfucker of the day. You are the BAMF of a long time. Like, you do not know what you just did to this man. You reassured him. You helped him out. You comforted him in a time of being. I get that it impacts you, but just know this. You went above and beyond what any friend or coworker could do in that situation. I applaud you. I would give you an award if I had an award. You know what? Reddit says there's a free award here. Let's go ahead and clickety-clack on it. Give me a silver. I got a wholesome award. Okay, how appropriate. Let's go ahead and award it here. Let's give away the wholesome award. There we go. Thank you. I don't want to buy any coins for you. So yeah, that's my one tidbit for you there. I had my boss to take the hospital. So Organic Platform 9490 says my mom set up a webcam to spy on me while I'm home alone and I don't know what to do. So the first sentence here is kind of what's the most important here. Is I live at home with my parents and I commute downtown to a university where I am in my third year of college. You are, what is it here? I was on the phone with my older sister who's 22, female. Okay, so you're at your third year of college, which tells me that you're 19, 20, 21. Okay, so you're 21, 19 or 21, 19 or 21. What the fuck, Jared? You're 20, 21, maybe 22 or 23. You don't really state here, but here's my thing. Number one, I don't want to read, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. Okay, you have a boyfriend of over a year. Great, cool, congratulations. You live at home alone. It is technically your parents' house. You are living under their house, their rules. If they want to spy on you, as creepy and weird as that is, that you were over the age of 18 and living with them because of their religious beliefs or whatever the fuck they want to do, it doesn't matter. All of what you're saying here doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Here's the thing. You live at your parents' place. You live under their rules. You live under their house. Or no, you live under their house. You live under their rules. I don't care. Everything else that you say is moot. My little brother Yoshi went to college full time, lived in basically what was considered a frat house. You know, like I think it was like a 10-bedroom apartment where they had 8 other guys. Like literally they had a big ass TV. There's a couch. And then behind that couch was a raised platform where another couch was on it. So more and more buddies could watch the TV that was in the room. Like, and he worked a full-time job. He was able to pay for the vast majority of things. Now, granted, my mom did help him out, but I know so many college kids that go to college, that live off of stipends, that have full-time jobs, and live in a small, crappy apartment with a freaking neighbor or something like that. Like, if my trailer was big enough and you were here in Wisconsin and you were commuting to where I thought downtown was here in my hometown, like it, come rent my room out for $100. You know, come rent my room out for $200 a month. You know, okay, there you go. You got your own room. You got your own privacy. Welcome to living with birds. You know, I'm not going to bother you. You don't bother me. Let me do my fucking crazy things. I don't care about the rest of the stuff in here. I don't care if they're on a business trip or blah, 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 blah. You are in their house. You are under their roof. You follow their rules as crazy and as weird as they fucking are. You are over the age of 18. You can GTFO out of there. So that's my little advice mundo there. So Mayo473 says, my best friend won't tell me what's going on. What do I do? So my best friend didn't come home last night. He's been going to a mutual friend's house a lot lately. He always leaves while I'm at work and doesn't get back until the next day after I have left. I feel like he's trying to hide from me. I don't care if he's dating my best friend, if he's doing her, if they're just hanging out or whatever. I just don't like to think that my best friend is lying to me. It makes me think that he doesn't trust me. Every time I've asked him in the past about it, he plays dumb and acts like I'm accusing him of something that he's has never heard of. It's jacking with my depression and anxiety. What do I do? Stop fucking asking. If he doesn't want to tell you, it's none of your fucking business. Plain and fucking simple. If I ask somebody 3 times, and like in my job line of work, it's like, hey, why don't you want to sign up with our products today? I just don't feel like it. Well, what's really holding you back? I just don't feel like it. Oh, man, you signed up for a quote. You had a lot of interest in our products. You definitely wanted to get, you definitely wanted to do something. You don't just sign up for a quote willy-nilly. What's really holding you back here? What's stopping you from, taking advantage of this great deal? I just don't want to. They don't have to have a reason. As much as I would love that they have a reason, as much as I would love to it just be like, I don't know. Your best friend doesn't have to technically fucking tell you. Doesn't have to tell you. Now, because they're living with you, if you own the apartment or if you own the home and they're subleasing or they're just crashing with you, maybe you might have some pull where you can be like, hey, you need to tell me what the fuck is going on between you and so-and-so. You're being real fucking dodgy about it. But if none of that applies, if everything is an equal partnership, you have nothing. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. That's as simple as that. You have no right, no rhyme, no reason to any of that shit. You have no right to know anything that's going on with his or her life. Or hey, if you really want to fucking know, just go and ask your best friend. That's always an option if you want to be a douchebag. So, that's a thing. That's a thing. So my girlfriend left me 3 times in 3 days, says Mocha. Mochaa. I don't even have to read it. Oh, you're a 14-year-old male. Welcome to fucking adolescence, I guess. Like if your girlfriend is 13 and if she's 13, 14, or 15, or even 16, if she's 16, congratulations, you got yourself an older girl. Older women are better. I will always admit to that. I would rather date a girl who's slightly older than me just because she's got more life experience. But sounds like you don't have a girlfriend anymore. Because if you flippity flop, and I've been accused of this lately. Here's the thing. If she's like, hey, I want to break up with you, and then she comes back to you the next day, and then she's like, I want to break up with you, and it comes back to you the next day, that second time that she did it, she's like, hey, I want to come back to you, and let's be boyfriend and girlfriend, be like, bye, bitch. Or, oh, God, what is that? Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia. You don't have a girlfriend anymore. Congratulations. You're 14. You're young, dumb, and full of stupidity. Go with it. So, all right, so I want to end this podcast on a real light note here. It says, my fiance kicked her daughter out because she's a lesbian. Can I do anything? So here's the original post, and then there's a beautiful follow-up to it. It's gotten a few awards. So the original post here says, I've been with my fiance for 4 years. I'm 30 and she's 39. Older woman, nice job. She has a 16-year-old daughter. They moved in, and after we've been together for about 6 months, I never really got involved with the parenting of her daughter. It wasn't my place, and I never had kids, so I don't have any experience, especially with teenagers. 2 years ago, I caught my daughter with another girl when I came home from work. She begged me not to tell her mom, so I didn't. It's not my place to discuss the kid's sexuality. Awesome job. Awesome job. Fucking stepdaddy of the year right there. So yesterday, her daughter came home from school with a girl and came out to her mom. Mom flew into a massive rage and started cussing and calling her daughter names and then kicked her out and told her not to come back till she was, quote, normal. My fiance is very Christian, so her being gay is a big sin. I tried to reason with her, but she doesn't care. She doesn't want to see her daughter again. Her daughter went to stay with her girlfriend and her parents, and I've been in contact with her and told her that I would try to persuade her mom to let her come back in. But I don't see that happening. I don't know what to do, and I'm honestly disgusted with the way that she reacted. I don't want her daughter to be homeless. She's a good kid, and her relationship has been pretty good. Any advice would be much appreciated, and I apologize for any grammar errors. English isn't my first language. So here's the update, because this update is flawless. So I told my fiance, it's over. I can't be with somebody who abandons their kid because they're gay. That's just something I am not willing to accept or forgive.
I got my ex-fiance an Airbnb for the next month, gave her a little bit of cash for an apartment after the month is over, and I'll move herself when she gets her own place. I know this is probably way too generous considering she kicked out her kid without any remorse, but I'm not her. I'm not capable of doing that, especially since I still love her despite what she did. She left about an hour ago. I called the daughter, explained what happened. I told her she can move in with me. She was super happy and asked me to pick her up in a couple hours. I'm not her father and never had any kids on my own, but I'll try my best to take care of both her financially and emotionally. Raising a teenager will definitely be a challenge, but one that I'm happy to accept if it means she doesn't have to go through what I went through when I was her age. For any people that said to call Child Protective Services or to get legal custody, there is no point. In my country, a 16-year-old is not considered a minor anymore, which means that she can legally live with anyone she chooses without parental consent. As far as adopting her or getting legal custody, I am not her father. I wouldn't pretend to be. I just take care of her till she wants or is ready to move out. I really hope that both of them reconnect, but my fiance isn't welcome at my house anymore. I don't want her in my life. I haven't told my fiance that her daughter is going to be living with me. If her daughter chooses to tell her herself, that is her choice. I'm not going to force her to reconnect or keep in touch with her mother. I appreciate everyone's advice to this. I never thought Reddit would be this helpful. Whoops. Kozano, you are the other bad motherfucker of the day. You are the other BAMF of our day. Like, the fact that you have a well enough paying job to be able to do all of that, I applaud you. I applaud you. I applaud you 100%. That is phenomenal. That is fantastic. That is great. So, on that note, I wanted to leave you guys with a little bit of positivity, a little bit of excitable giddiness that you may or may not have in your life anymore. And I just want to leave you on a good note. Things have kind of been bad for me the last 2 weeks. Been fighting off a massive sinus infection. I've been taking some frickin' horse pills they're massive. they're as wide. Well, it basically, if you took an Advil pill and kind of stretched out to as long as a pill, I'll just put it to you this way. I feel like the RFID chip on your debit or credit card. It's about two of those. It's two of those stacked, lengthways wise. It's been bad. I'm finally getting over it. I think I got like 5 days left before I'm done taking the medication. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty excitable. So anyways, I just want to leave you guys on a good note, on an absolute positive note. I hope that you enjoyed this Feathers and Friends. I know it was a little bit more scatterbrained, but again, this is the Jared you want and the Jared you get, because it's a me, Mario, because I can't find any guests. A lot of people just haven't been getting back to me. A lot of people just don't really want to talk about what I want to talk about. So anyways, my head is off to our two badass motherfuckers of the day here. And I just want to throw it out there that I hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the NFL coming up. Enjoy the discounted chocolate day coming up on February 15th. And I will be watching Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2 for my Valentine's Day, because that is a love story that just has my heart. So, I love your faces. I love all of you. I will see you on the next episode next Saturday. See you guys. I keep on trying for you to understand, but you just don't get it. Don't comprehend. If you need me to spell it out for you, oh my dear, oh yeah. Leave me alone, leave me alone. Give me peace, give me peace.
baby.